it took us a little bit longer because we were installing some in the winter. So that was great. But it's Minnesota, so you gotta.
Exactly.
But a lot of the guys that were on this site, like I said, it was like their first time actually working in solar. So like I said, Jamez and I kind of wanted to add that other equity piece about getting guys that are traditionally not in the industry working, right? So now these guys, they're taking training, and the hard part is, when can I touch the stuff? Who's going to hire me? So we saw a little bit of that, but yeah. How many panels we had? I wish I had the numbers, but I don't. But it was fun. Let's put it like that. So I'm traditionally been in the solar industry for about 10 years now. Like I have like all the credentials of a master electrician, electrical engineer, blase, blase, blase. And so one of the biggest things we wanted to do is I wanted to step in more as a mentor role to these guys. It's like I said, it took us a little bit longer. We had bumped into winter because we have green guys, new to industry, had them teaching everything from like what a tool is. Like one guy didn't even know what a hammer was, So just doing that, and then we had our partners that helped us with it also played that role as well. So we used to go and videotape like a lot of the smaller stuff, and then we'll go back to the office and review it. So I try to make a lot of educational components built in, And so, like I said, we got some smaller parts we have to finish up, but yeah, I mean, typically a project like this, if you have like a very experienced crew, could probably take you a month or so. So we were more in the 3-month than 3 month there. But like I said, it was good working with Jamez because like he knew that was a part of the piece. He knew there was an equity part that we just had to all work with, and then just all work together. Most people are like, look, I got deadlines. If you're not hitting my deadlines, get out of there. It's good not to have that pressure, right? Especially when you're trying to build equity and everything. So, but everything else is just technical stuff.
Well, tell a little bit. You and I were talking a little bit about how you went out to recruit and find the folks that did this project, because I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, we got people from the community, right? I think, like I said, it was myself, and I had another very experienced guy that was working in solar for 7 years. But after that, we got guys from the community. And a lot of it was word of mouth, but people were just amazed that I can do this, and and I like it. So the guys, a lot of guys were out of the workforce for a very long time. Like we're kind of inching away from COVID. Guys were out of work because of that, out of shape. So I carry a lot of solar panels, a lot of hurt shoulders and backs. No, just kidding. No, they're okay. But yeah, that's the reality of it. We had to just kind of say, look, I'm not gonna go my traditional route, so I'm gonna go and try to find guys from the community. But most of it was like word of mouth. Like, hey man, I got a friend, I got a cousin. Yes.
Well, I didn't want to interrupt. I want you to finish your answer. I just wanted to ask about one of the things in our bill for solar on schools is to have a meter in the school building so they can actually see what the panels are producing, so then they can understand the benefits of them. And so is that something that you guys are able to do here for the benefit of the students in this building?
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, it can be done, like as far as like technically, yes.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good piece for the education part.
Yeah. So what we're doing is we're going to set it up so that there's metering that you can actually see what it's
real live or real time.
It'll give you real-time reads that you can link to a website.
Yeah.
So you just pull up that website and it'll show real-time and historical data on the system.
That's great. I think that just is super beneficial for young people to see the actual benefits on the building and on the roof and what it's producing that day.
Absolutely.
And that's monitoring. I'm sorry, I was just kind of
the
monitoring system. And we're still in the process of, like I said, the interconnection and all of that stuff here. So that's where once that's complete, then there will be for sure that monitoring system that can be deployed to any classroom wirelessly, right? And so when JT talks about deadlines and things like that, this wasn't all that profitable of a project, right? I mean, because we're trying to do things different, what I found is that when you're trying to be more inclusive, you can't just run, right? You got to kind of crawl, and you got to walk, and then you can start running. And that there is what we had to do with this project and other projects that we're doing.
I was going to say, can you take lessons learned here?
Right, absolutely. And so the goal here is that as we're developing the workforce, we're developing the company. My commitment to this community, as my community, was, I don't want to I didn't want to do it like everybody else, right? I didn't want to just go make a bunch of money and then try and come back and figure it out. Let's do it together, right? And when you do it together, you go through those headaches, you go through those processes where you understand and you learn. And so we're grateful to have, like I said, the partnerships that we have of everybody who's here on the roof, because without all of you, this wouldn't have been possible.
And it's the same with the subscriber management. It's a lot of one-on-one, long conversations, a lot of education, you know, in their neighborhoods, coming to the subscribers that we want, which are North High families, North High neighbors, North High, you know, North Minneapolis residents, and it's worth every minute, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and it's mainly, you know, nonprofits and, you know, small organizations doing this work. So,
you know, transportation is a big thing that, you know, it's one of those things where I don't say it's a poor tax, but you know, a lot of guys don't have that quality transportation, you know, and so getting to the job sites, you know, are hard. So like, if this was in Fritley, oh gosh, it'd have been a different ball game for me, right? You know, that some guys can actually pick up a friend that's over here. You know, we can carpool. We're all centrally located. That was huge, you know, and so that's one of those things where people got to figure out. But you know, obviously those guys got cars now because they have employment. But starting off, you know, guys don't have, you know, correct work gear, you know, things of that nature. That you know, just by those small things right there keeps them out of the industry. And so just to be able to work with those smaller things. Hey, I'll pick you up for work. You know, or we'll arrange a ride for you to get to work. Hey, I'll get you some steel-toe boots. Just that small stuff makes a huge difference in getting these guys back, you know, reemployed, you know? So.
Gary, could you talk a little bit about what the role of U.S. Bank has been? Oh, Greg, sorry. Greg, could you talk a little
Thank you, Senator. I was waiting to hear what he was going to say. Maybe there's something I didn't know.
That's great. Could you tell a little bit about U.S. Bank's role, you know, kind of role, and how you've been a partner?
Yeah, thank you, Senator Smith. U.S. Bank is really proud to be a part of it, and you know, it's mostly been through our real estate investment tax credits to help support the project financially out of our Community Development Corporation, which is headquartered in St. Louis. So we're really thrilled to be a part of it. I mean, it really aligns nicely with both our community efforts and certainly our diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, which is all about providing, you know, equal access to opportunity and equitable outcomes. So we're thrilled to be a part of it. Thanks for asking.
So I also want to say that U.S. Bank played a critical role. They made a contribution to the company. Now, you know, traditionally, you don't get these kind of contributions, right? They gave a contribution to support some of the training that's taking place at the training center over here on Plymouth Avenue. And that is where some of these people actually got some of the training, right?
Nice.
And so when they did that, and then they agreed that we went through the project economics, and we were able to tie the training opportunity to an employment opportunity, right? And that's one of the things that we're targeting here with the public schools through the RFP that they have out on the streets in the city of Minneapolis. We're tying our work directly to policy, right? If the policy is 100% renewable energy, we should do it with equity. We should make sure that those who haven't traditionally been engaged have an opportunity to actively participate. And the way that we're doing our work doesn't look like anybody else's because it takes a lot of time, a lot of patience, and you don't always make the money that you think you're gonna make, right? But the key is that not only are we doing good for the community, we're keeping a viable business established, right?
Well, and you have a long-term perspective. It's the difference between whether you're looking for, you know, short-term returns or whether you're building for the long-term, and that's the thing that we
Multiple
need more of.
benefits too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
The U.S. Bank role was really to utilize the federal tax credits because the school district by itself can't do that. So we created the structure where they are basically monetizing the tax credits and will own this project for somewhere between 6 and 9 years, but then it reverts back to, it can revert back to local ownership at that point. So that was really the only way to do this and get the cost down.
Nice.
Any other questions?
Yeah, another drone.
Yeah, we want to get one with the panels